I'm happy to share this story actually because it really speaks a little bit to what Allison was talking about and the change that I've seen in my life as I've been doing this work and really feeling like I had to, at first, I felt like I needed to work it all the time and that so much was wrong with me. I think I've sort of visited that theme throughout my whole life though. So it wasn't really a new one to discover once I discovered the work, right? I think that's sort of like when I started working with Sean, immediately I saw all these things that were wrong with me. And it's this like, oh no, it's way worse than I thought. But also it's way better than I thought too, because all of those things were causing me pain. I just couldn't see them clearly, right? They were all causing me pain. They were all the source of the things that I thought were the problem, but were actually symptoms of the problem. And so, perfect example of this is just this weekend, I went on a vacation with my family to Great Wolf Lodge, which is not really my thing. I'm like, give me an outdoors, give me a campsite.
So
I
it's
just
like
don't
a
super
big indoor water
water
park.
park. Yeah. So it's very chlorinated. The moment you walk in, your eyes start burning. And it's just not my favorite thing in the world. But, and the last time we went, it was terrible. I remember it just being completely miserable. My children loved it. They had a great time, but I was miserable. And a lot of that was because of my joint condition. I was in a lot of pain and it was bad. So as the trip kind of progressed, I could tell a really long story, but I'm going to try and make it shorter.
Yeah, and I
There were
haven't
all
heard it
these
at all. I only heard the summary. So
there were all these factors that were about the trip that were different. Like my kids are older and they can like run and do their own thing now. Like those things were different, and that definitely made the trip better. But there were also an equal number of factors that would have made the trip miserable before. And this time I was different. And so it was like kind of watching, like when they do like a flashback in a movie where you're sort of living in the present and you're living in the past at the same time, watching myself then struggle so much because things were happening that were out of my control and frustrating to me. And then I got hurt and I really didn't feel like I could like say, I'm going to go to my room and rest. And then also I was beating myself up for not playing with my kids enough and not like showing up in a different way. And this time, everything that happened that I would have judged in the past as being bad, it would have added into my frustration of the trip. I just sort of was like, oh, interesting. I wonder how this will turn out. I wonder what this outcome is. And the trip was so beautiful because of it, because I have changed, right? The factors didn't change that much, but I have changed. And everything that happened that would have been like frustrating before ended up turning out better. And I got to just watch it happening. Like it was kind of like, okay, this is interesting, but then well, I guess we'll see what happens. And then it was amazing. And it just because I am changing and working on myself, I wasn't stuck to any outcome and I wasn't beating myself up for the way I showed up. I just sort of floated along and it was beautiful. It was a wonderful, wonderful trip. And I just feel so grateful for that. So